Welcome to our next episode of
Fandom
Family
Chats.
This is a production of Family Fan Clubs on Facebook. You can find us all over Facebook. You can find us all over social media under Fandom Family Chats. Look us up, get dialed in, get plugged in, and get ready to listen to some crazy people talk crazy stuff.
Welcome back to Fandom Family Chats. I'm Amanda.
I'm Eve.
And tonight we are talking about one Chicago. All the Chicagos.
Every single one.
All of the Chicagos. No, Med, Fire, and then PD last. All right. So the preview last week had us I feel like I thought something was actually gonna really happen to Maggie. And I'm really glad it didn't. Don't get me wrong. I don't want anything bad to happen to her. But that was what's that called when you're catfishing? Not catfishing. Like clickbait. Watch bait.
Watch bait. They do this every single time though, and I know we've said this with Grey's Anatomy too, that if they show us some terrible preview and we're like, ah, then we know that everything's going to be okay. But then if it's that they don't show us anything, that's when we can worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't terribly worried about Maggie because I know how these previews work, and I was like, okay, this is going to be over dramatized and it's going to be something that ends up being nothing.
Well, I thought she was going to get hurt or something, but I mean, Ben wasn't even in town. I thought there was going to be more drama when it came to that. He was going to show up to the hospital and there was going to be
quick question about Ben though.
Mm-hmm.
What school does he work at where he never has to be at school?
I know. He's always
because he's always either at the hospital. It's like, oh, one of my kids fell off the jungle gym, broke his arm, and I followed him to the hospital. It's like,
who does that?
Do you have enough staff at your school where you can just do that?
Exactly.
Not judging, just I need to know these things because my school is struggling, so I want to know their secrets.
Exactly. I think we all need to know his secret. He just, I don't know, maybe on his lunch, but teachers' lunches are not long.
Yeah, they feel like 5 minutes. So
I don't know. Maybe they just have a lot of stand-ins.
They have a lot of extras on set to cover, so he's all set. But also, it ended up being nothing because he wasn't even there, and I was like, well, I mean, first of all, I'm glad Maggie wasn't hurt. I'm glad she's fine. But I'm first of all, nothing bad happens to Maggie. Okay, that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And then no dramatics because Ben's not even there.
Yeah.
So I feel like
this is going to be a fight later on.
It has to be because nothing came from it this episode.
Yeah. I feel like that was a setup.
Maggie even just walked straight into the ED. She wasn't even on a stretcher or...
Well, also the car hit the back of his car. So, I mean, there was no impact on either of them.
So, I don't know. It was just really odd to me because I was like, why did they even bother with this whole big accident if nothing came from it? So, I think it's just some other vehicle they're going to use to draw a wedge between Maggie and Ben, which I'm really worried about. I like Ben. If anything happens to them, it's all Maggie's fault. So
I don't like this Grant. I don't.
No, he's nothing but trouble.
He's he hasn't talked to her in how many years, and then she tries to connect him with his daughter, and then he's just showing up. Oh, come ride in my new old car. Get out of here. Shoo.
Shoot. Dude, no, I'm working. Also, we're not friends. Go away.
In the middle of her workday, who does that? That'd be if I walked into your school and was like, hey, come check out this new car I got. Come for a ride with me.
Well, except that's a little more likely because we actually are friends. Maggie, and I'm like, why are you walking into the workplace of a woman who you really don't have any connection with other than
a daughter that you gave up for adoption when you were a teenager?
who's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And now you're just showing up. It's like, no, she made it very clear from the beginning.
Exactly.
I'm in this so that you can have a relationship with Vanessa. The end. That's it. I'm not involved. And now she's walking out of her workplace to go on a joyride in his fancy new car. Like, what is up with that?
It is, I don't know. I don't like hating on Chicago shows, but I don't like this storyline. Like, and maybe it's because I love Maggie and I don't like them messing with Maggie. But I mean, it just seems silly.
Did
Unnecessary.
did we know for a while that the actress who plays Vanessa was leaving?
I didn't know.
Because I'm wondering if her wanting to leave was so sudden, now they're having to kind of change the story around now that Vanessa isn't there.
I'm not sure. I think they're just trying to put a wedge in between Maggie and Ben now. Have some drama come up there.
We didn't even see much of Ben since they've gotten married and things were good. So why are they having to drive a wedge between them now?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me, like completely at all.
Be better.
I mean, we barely ever see Ben. Like, why do we got to mess with them? They're good.
Yeah, he's at work teaching the youth of America. Leave him alone. He's fine.
And he's just in there every other day with students that just keep getting hurt on his watch. I don't know.
But it's okay. He goes to the hospital to make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
So that makes up for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you agree with Maggie not telling Ben, though, about the accident?
I do not agree with that. I am very... Now, granted, I am not married. I'm not in any kind of, committed relationship. But is that not something husbands and wives are supposed to share with each other? Like, if you got into a car accident and you were fine, but if you got into a car accident, wouldn't you tell your Ben that the accident happened?
Yeah.
Because
unless Ben, I was hiding something.
Because Maggie's Ben, he's going to be rightfully pissed at her.
Yeah.
He never told him.
Let me say, my husband would be very unhappy with me if I went joyriding with my high school boyfriend who fathered my child in the middle of a work day, reminiscing about the good old days and trying to mac on her. Like, no.
While he's at a conference.
Yeah. I just no.
It doesn't sit right with me. Like,
and I'm mad at Maggie right now. I'm just mad at Maggie for first going, for keeping it from Ben, from all this unnecessary secrecy.
And I hate it too. I hate being mad at Maggie because she's been one of my favorites since the very beginning. And now I have to be mad at Maggie. I don't like it. But Ben's going to find out because that's how these things always go.
Oh, yeah. I think Will slip. Will's always causing trouble.
But he had a lot on his plate this week.
He did.
That was a wild case.
Yeah, the mom and the young daughter, that one.
I don't know, what did they call it? The surgery they did? It was like round robin surgery. I don't know, that's the only thing that's coming to mind, but I feel like that's something they've done on Grey's Anatomy. Like they did a massive one there where it was like 12 people involved or something.
Yeah, that one was. I remember that one.
No, do they do this in real life? Because it sounds like a big deal to have to put together and arrange. It's like a lot of moving parts, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure it's happened before, but I'm sure it's not like a common.
It doesn't happen in one, 45-minute TV episode.
Yeah, sure it does. What are you talking about?
That's real life. That's how it works.
No, this case, as soon as she came in, I mean, we all knew that she was jaundiced as soon as she came in. I think we've all watched.
Oh yeah. Saw her, I was like, that girl is jaundiced, and I don't need to be a doctor to know that because she was like yellow.
Yeah, and they're all I don't know. They kept like looking at her. I'm like, what are you looking at? Obviously, I can tell what it is.
Like, you don't need to run a single test. I know what it is already.
Pick me, pick me. Even like the mother, what's wrong with her? I'm like, come on. Do you not have any common sense? I've been bringing my daughter and be like, she's jaundiced, but I don't know why. Figure it out.
It's like, obviously what's wrong with her is that she's literally yellow. Like,
did you
do we not
something?
have eyes, or do we need to be concerned about you?
Yeah, she ended up having a like advanced liver disease, which is so crazy to like see in a teenage girl. Well, teenager, period.
The way that I thought this case was going was, I thought that, I don't know, somehow like medical negligence or whatever was going to end up being involved, because like, how does someone, not, like I'm being judgy McJudgerson, but how does a teenager have kidney failure that advanced and no one, and like she shows no symptoms, and like no one.
It's weird. I mean, but who knows? I think her mom was a recovering alcoholic, right?
Yeah, so I guess,
and not very long, right? Like she thinks, was it 6 months? Am I remembering that correctly?
No, I think 6 months is, I think Will had told her that she can be a donor if she's been
That's right.
sober for at least 6 months.
Yeah, you're right.
So I don't think it was ever made clear how long she's been in recovery.
Okay, yeah, but it's been at least over 6 months, we know. Well, I'm just trying to think, like, what are the causes of like the mom not noticing anything was going on?
Because wouldn't there be other symptoms besides her, being jaundiced and everything?
I mean, you would think, but who knows?
If she's a teenager and didn't say anything to her mom, then
maybe
I don't know. Maybe they thought it was normal that, whatever her symptoms were, maybe they thought it was normal. Who knows?
I don't know, but I really thought the mom would be able to donate, and I was a little upset when she couldn't. And then whenever she's like, I don't think I can donate, I immediately was like, oh, this girl's adopted. You can tell I watched too much drama TV.
Like, I thought it was something super shady, and then she's just like, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm like, well, that's not very interesting. I'm like, well, that's kind of boring.
I was like, ooh, who's the real mom? Nope. That's not where we went with this. So after we find out the mom couldn't donate or whatever, they said that she has no relatives, which, by the way, this happens quite a bit in all the medical shows. Like, there's no relatives. How many people are out there with like zero relatives?
I'm glad you said something, because I'm sitting there thinking, maybe I'm just the weird person who happens to know a lot of their extended family. But is it normal that somebody has zero family?
Yeah, zero.
Like, are there
no relatives?
Like, are there no like distant cousins, on the other side of the country, or something? Like, how does someone have no relatives? And they always say, oh, like, there are no relatives. Her dad died, however many years ago. I'm like, what about cousins?
Where's the family?
Or uncles, or like, I don't know, somebody.
I mean, I feel like if it happens once in a while, like I could like see, but I feel like every single time. That's why I just thought it was like an adoption or something, because like I feel like they're always like there's no real relatives.
Or a kidnapping. That would have been juicy.
A kidnapping. I think I've seen that one once. No, they did this. I guess it's called a pair exchange. So Roberta needs a kidney. So her husband, Frank, donates to Lydia, which is the teenage girl.
Wait, didn't she need some other? Wasn't it a liver? Or because I feel like they had a conversation that it would be a different recovery. So I think like the husband donated his kidney to the teenager Lydia, and then Lydia's mom donated part of her liver to.
No, Lydia needed the liver. I think
Was it the other
Frank
way around?
donated part of his liver
Oh, okay.
to Lydia, and then Danielle, the mom, donated one of her kidneys to Roberta.
Okay, that was it. I knew it was like two different organs. I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember which one belonged to who, but
I think that sounds right in my head.
I think you're right.
Also, I mean, I don't want to forget about talking about him, but the new resident, I like him.
I liked him. And he's friends with Gallo, which,
yes,
real quick, I had completely forgot that Gallo had a first name and it's not Gallo.
Oh my gosh, me
because
too.
He called him Blake. I was like, who in the heck? I was like, who is that? Are we supposed to know him? I was like, oh, that's Gallo. Oh yeah,
Blake. I was like, who?
Blake. That's right. At first, I was like, who in the heck is Blake, and why do we care about him?
I did the same thing, but I don't think I even noticed it on Med. They called him Blake on Fire too, or he called himself Blake.
Yeah, that's right. He did.
And I was like, ooh, that sounds weird.
Like, why are we using his first name all of a sudden this week? Like, what is going on?
Trying to be more personable.
Yeah, but I don't know. This Dr. Lou is his name. He made me a little nervous because remember the whole conflict we had with Crockett's I don't know if it was a resident or a fellow or whatever, but remember the issues we had with him. So I wasn't really excited to meet yet another new person.
Very true. But this one seems okay so far. I mean, he seems eager to learn.
I mean, I don't really have much else to say about him.
No, I guess he stood out more for me. I really liked him.
I like him. He seems okay.
Yay. Well, you brought up Crockett. So let's jump into this case that Crockett decided to help Sharon with to meet Jack Dayton. I always forget his name.
Sounds like a celebrity, Jack Dayton.
I know. Crockett didn't want to do it at first though, which I don't blame him either. I mean, I think he's getting really tired of this.
Yeah, because he had that week where he was, being, interviewed and everything. I think he's just sick of all of the extras.
Me what, newbie?
Like, just let me do my doctoring stuff and leave me alone.
Exactly. It's exactly what needed to happen, but
he is very charismatic. I mean, who else was Sharon supposed to go to? I think he really was the best man for the job.
But they need $10 million. I mean, it's like
that's a lot. Like, I don't even know what $10 million even looks like.
I wouldn't want to go to somebody and ask for $10 million either. Well, she said $10 million or suites with MRI machines, which I think they add up to being the same, but still.
I don't know, whenever I hear numbers that big, $10 million, my first thought is, where is this money coming from? Like, who has this money sitting around and just donate? Like, where does it come from? Are they printing it like in their basement or something? Like,
investments.
It's just crazy to me. It's like, I don't care how smart you are with the money. Like, how does one get that much money? I need to know.
Please share.
Because I could use I don't need 10 million, but I could use, just a chunk of that.
It would be very nice and helpful. Thank you.
Share your secrets. Yeah, but I think it was the whole the case that he worked on with Will. Kind of got him to that dinner. So I think it really got him thinking, hey, we need more, like, we need the ability to be able to do more things like this, which I think Will brought up.
Yeah.
And it is it is refreshing to see them kind of sort of getting along, being on the same page, because they've just been snipping at each other every week. So
I know. And I'm getting a little tired of it. I mean, we all love Crockett. We all like Will. Like,
they don't need to be besties, but they just need to stop like being at each other all the time.
Bickering like two old women. Yeah. Stop.
It's not fun. We don't want to see that anymore.
No. But I mean, of course, Jack Dayton, which I think we called him being a big part of this season when we first met him. But he really, I mean, he is starting to become a regular, which is kind of weird because he has nothing to do with the medical field.
No, he's what, an engineer
Yeah,
or
he's
something like that?
a part of an engineering company.
I feel like every episode he shows up in, I'm like, wait, why is he still here?
I know. Like, why do they keep like he just keeps like coming around? It's
He seems like
strange.
an okay guy. I like him just
I do
fine.
too.
Why is he still around? Like he's not a doctor or anything. Not that there aren't other valued professions, but why are you still here?
Exactly. I don't know. It's odd, but I mean, I like the guy. He after they pitched the idea to him, then I mean, he says he's going to do it even better. I mean,
What's
this
even
guy's
better than
amazing.
what's even better than $10 million? Like I really need to know.
12 million.
Oh, 12 million. No,
I
that's
don't know.
great. Well, that is better. But he said, I'll do you even better. I'm like, how?
Yeah, exactly. Please tell me how.
Well, once you're at $10 million, is there really much of a difference between 10 million and like 12 million? Really? Once you
For
get that
me.
high up there? Well, yeah. So, I mean, the better than $10 million. I mean, that was pretty good news. I think that was better than Sharon was hoping for, really.
Yeah.
Like, I think she thought that 10 million was pushing it, but I mean,
Hey, man. I'm excited.
yeah.
I need the next episode to come. This next little topic that we're gonna jump into, I have words about
I do,
Ethan this
I do
week.
too, but I want to hear your words first.
Ooh, my words are not kind. No, I mean not kind. I am I love I love Ethan and April, but I feel very robbed of being so dedicated into the relationship since the very beginning. And then they see each other one time at the cemetery. And then all of a sudden they're getting married like next week. Like,
That's not
what?
true. They were dancing at that club the one
Oh
time
my
and then had
gosh.
a one night stand. So there you go. It all equals marriage. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, whoa, wait, what is like I had to go back.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a wedding invitation to what wedding? Because
I
we
didn't even
saw
know they
no
were dating.
we saw no proposal. We've seen no
Yeah.
April. She's not even around as far as we know. How do we know they're actually getting married? I don't know. I
Like,
feel like it's all just I feel like it's a very lazy way to write Ethan off the show.
oh no, she came in with her hospital buddy.
Oh, that military guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot about that part.
Oh, okay. Well, that seals
But
the
they
deal.
weren't even like, I don't think they were even dating then.
No,
And
I
that was
just feel
like
like
a few weeks ago. What
we're just
happened?
being robbed of everything. I feel like they're just getting lazy. They're like, well,
They're
you know,
getting married. Well, I want to see it.
well, we got to get rid of Ethan. Well, let's just marry him off to April and be done with it. Like, well,
Bye.
if you're gonna marry these two people, we need to see everything.
No, and everybody was just so like, oh, that's such great news. Yay. I'm like,
And I'm like,
nobody's going to say nothing.
like
Nobody.
yeah, it's great news, but I need more info.
Exactly.
Where and how and why and when. Like, I need all the answers.
Yeah, I wanted to
There's
see a
nothing.
proposal. I mean, this is a couple that we've been rooting for since the beginning of their relationship. Like, I loved them from the very beginning. And then I just really feel robbed. Like, if Ethan's going to go out and if Ethan's leaving the show and April's not coming back to the show, at least give us one episode of a good proposal before they leave. I mean, that would
I
be
mean,
a good plot.
you, Dick Wolf, you can make it up to us by giving us a wedding. At least
I
let us see the
better see a
wedding.
wedding.
At
I
least
will
let us see
riot.
the wedding, and then maybe we'll forgive you.
I better see a wedding.
If there's no wedding, we will keep watching, but we will be very upset.
I'm gonna pout. Like when Archer finally said something to him, that guy that just like ran in first, that was odd because I've just never seen anybody like come in and get a doctor and run to their home, but I understand why.
Same question as the whole teaching thing. In what hospital are doctors able to just get up and walk out and be like, oh, okay, I'll just leave the hospital and
Exactly.
go help you, even though I have no idea what the emergency could possibly be? Like,
yeah. Like, to me, it was a little bit dangerous. Like, how do they know what they're walking into?
it could just be, I don't know, maybe this guy just needs a little CPR and he'll be fine. But like, these surgeons are just up and leaving the emergency room.
Exactly. They're gonna go help Buddy. Which, by the way, I felt so bad for Buddy, man. This was a sad one for me.
This
So
episode made me so mad. That poor man.
I know. When they lifted his shirt at first, I thought he was like shot. It like looked like a perfect like circle. So I thought he was like he had gotten like shot and then like, didn't take care of it and it got infected and everything.
Honestly,
But
that probably would have been less sad than what it turned out to be.
I know. And it sucks.
And I don't know,
Buddy.
our medical dramas are pretty good at bringing real life into the screen. So I guess the even sadder part, the more sad, I don't even know if sadder is a word, but it is now. The saddest part of this is that I'm sure that this happens in real life.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Not just homeless
for
people,
sure.
but simply people who just are easily taken advantage of and don't know any better.
Yep. It was just really sad. He has that like new freaking hospital bracelet on. So this has obviously been seen by a medical professional. So I don't know. I mean, pretty much the system failed him. That's the whole baseline of this whole story is the system has failed this man. And it's heartbreaking. And I agree with Jeanette. I think this is what is going to take Ethan away. I think this was the episode to kind of gear up Ethan leaving. I think him getting married to April, he's going to go. He seemed to be like I'm trying to think of the word.
But yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be the thing that takes Ethan away because he was definitely affected by it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And this happens a lot with veterans and stuff because they don't get the help that they need.
And like this was even elective surgery, right? Like somebody
Yeah.
helped this poor man into getting a surgery that he doesn't even need.
Yep. That whole case had me just fuming. But
yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of cases this week. Like Gloria, for instance.
Oh, that one made me really sad too.
Holy moly, that one reminded me of the was it Station 19 episode after the assault and having to go through the exam and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they reminded me of. And just but Hannah and Nellie, she immediately broke my heart. I didn't think she was gonna talk openly at all, but Hannah going over there and Nellie both going over there and sitting her down and making her feel safe and not forcing her to talk, but talking lightly to her. And it was all handled very patiently and gracefully. And I like that.
Yeah, and if you think back to when we first met Nellie, holy cow, she's like a completely different doctor now.
Mm-hmm.
I love Nellie now.
Yeah, I do too. She's grown on me. But I mean, she says she'd be as soon as she started that story, I was like, oh, here we go. Because she had one drink and then couldn't remember anything until she woke up. That's almost always bad news, unfortunately. And this was super hard to watch, and it's so I don't even know the word. I can't imagine having to go through that. Is extremely upsetting, and I hate when they do episodes over this, but it is important for them to at the same time.
It's hard to watch, but that's because it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's also hard to think about real life, but it happens every day.
And to make matters even worse, turns out, she has a whole other reason to not report it because she's undocumented. So it was like one thing after the other with this poor girl.
I know. She had stuff in her system. She was assaulted. She's undocumented. And then Haley brings in another case that's almost the same. It's very similar.
It's pretty much exactly the same thing. Enough where Hannah was like, wait a minute. But, luckily Nellie really came through and convinced her to, report to Haley.
But I know they disagreed, but I don't know what the right thing to do there. I understood both sides of them. I did, but I'm glad that she eventually reported it. I think that was the best thing to do. You can't let these people get away with stuff like this.
We have a couple of weeks to recover from the heaviness of this episode, so
we do.
That would be a nice little break.
It is. It's not coming back till December 7th. And I mean, based on the preview, Jack Dayton kept his word. The new OR is getting used on the fall finale.
OR 2.0. Sounds fancy.
Oh,
I need a tour of this new, OR 2.0.
And I guess Crockett's going to be the lucky one to test it out. I don't know if I'd want to be the guinea pig on that one.
But of course, Will is mad at him about something, so.
Well, Will doesn't have much room to talk.
Well, one or both of them have to be upset about something, so I guess it's Will's turn.
It is. That's fair.
But they're not showing much of anything, so now I'm really worried.
I don't have any, there wasn't like a pit in my stomach when I watched it. So I don't think anything too bad is going to happen, but they could surprise me. They like doing that. So I guess we can't know for sure, but we'll see. All right. Well, I think that's all for Med. And as we always love to say, why don't we jump into fire, and then Maureen is going to join us. And then here she is. It's like magic.
We got more of Kelly playing fire cop, if that's what we want to call it.
Fire cop.
I like fire cop.
Fire cop. I mean, that's what Jeanette put in the notes. I'm like, what is that? Okay, I get it. That's clever.
I like it.
I'm gonna use it forever. But unfortunately, we also had to see, our, best friend Prima.
I don't hate Prima.
Which I'm like, I don't hate him anymore, but still, I'm like, is there literally no one else?
Well, the thing is,
what's wrong with intelligence people? Can we just use that?
Well, I agree with you there. I didn't like him at first for obvious reasons, because he was an idiot when it came to Kelly. And
yeah,
I mean, you just don't get to be that way. And even when Kelly came on that one case with the safe, he was being an idiot. But he has since recognized that Kelly is very, very good at his job, and will now go to Kelly when he has a need for it, because Kelly's the best at his job. So, I mean, that's what he does. He asks him for help. I didn't think that the explosions in the building were what it ended up being. I thought it was going to be something, I don't know, different. I don't know what I expected, but I didn't expect that. I didn't expect it to be a gun dealer showing off samples of a product. That was not even on my radar anywhere. I was like, okay.
I mean, it's a bad thing still. Like, I was expecting it to be something huge, and that is huge. Yeah. But for some reason, I don't know what direction I thought it was going in, but I didn't think it was that direction. Yeah. I was like, oh, really? That's it? That's what's happening?
And I think the reason it caught me so off guard is because A, it's not a fire. B, it's not even an explosion, which is fire adjacent. It's a gun, which has nothing to do with being a firefighter or even investigating arson in any capacity, way, shape, or form. None. So I was reading something where some people thought that maybe this was, they're trying to give Kelly an out, or Taylor Kinney an out, by pushing him in this direction.
Mm.
And I don't like that. Like, if you're going to push him out to go be an arson investigator, then push him into being an arson investigator. Don't bring in these random police things that have nothing to do with him or 51 or firefighting in any capacity. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I was really confused by it because I'm thinking, wait a minute, is this PD or fire? Because this seems like a really good storyline for PD.
Well, I noticed they were doing that on Med because I'm 2 episodes until caught up. I just finished season 8, episode 6 today. So I even noticed on like the last season 7 and into the beginning of season 8, they even were taking over some PD style cases. Like Dr. Scott obviously used to be a police officer, but I've noticed that these PD cases are infiltrating all of the Chicago shows more than I want Med to be Med. I want fire to be fire, and I want PD to be PD. And I guess, you know,
crossover every once in a while are fine, but let everyone have their own thing.
Yeah, they need to stay in their lane. With the crossovers, let them come over to PD if there's a fire or an explosion.
Yeah, exactly.
If you need
I
a
don't
cop
want
on
like
Med,
the Med
21.
people. I don't want the Med people like solving police cases.
No.
Like if we're gonna have a crossover, just put our PD people in the episode.
Exactly.
The reason we love them is because they're good at what they're supposed to be doing, not at being police officers when they're actually firefighters. Come on.
And I feel like I heard you guys because I'm not always on these podcasts, but I'm usually listening in some capacity. So I heard you guys say how it was a cheap way to get rid of Ethan. And I feel like if that's what they're doing to Severide, it's the same thing. Of course, they have to sort of make it easy transition out. But I hope that's not what they're doing because Taylor Kinney, he carries a lot of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, is he my top number one? No, but like people love this character. People watch Chicago Fire for Severide. So I don't know. It's just this storyline was the only storyline in this week that I was like, I don't really like this.
If they decide to write off Severide, I'm going to pout all the way through the rest of Fire. I'm still going to watch it.
I think everybody will.
I'm not going to give up, but I'm going to watch it and I will be very upset.
Yes, I will. I won't be happy either, but I think it benefits us. I think it benefits us that Severide is not our number one for any of us on.
Yeah.
I think maybe Shelby.
Shelby's
Joe Cruz.
One.
Cruz is her number one.
No, I think Kelly overrides Cruz.
Attractive wise, but when we did our top 10, Cruz was up there. Cruz is number one.
I think Cruz is her number one guy, but Severide is pretty up there. He's pretty up there for me, but
I'll be sad when Severide leaves. I really
100%.
Will. I don't want him to leave, but also I understand he's been on the show since season 1 and we're in season 11.
11 years now. I noticed that they are pushing him more towards fire investigation and doing the arson stuff, which I like watching him do the arson stuff. I always have.
I do too.
I like watching him do Squad 3 rescues more.
Exactly. And be a boss man.
At some point, he is going to have to retire. I mean, he's not young. So all firemen have to retire at some point. So, I mean, it was a grenade launcher that he found. And there was the dirty cop thing. Now, I actually kind of get where Prima was coming with wanting Kelly and Stella to sign off. I obviously understand where Kelly and Stella are coming from because Kelly has this overriding fear and need to protect Stella at all costs, no matter at who else's expense, because that's just the kind of guy Severide is with the people he loves. But this is such a huge deal that if they could, I think that Prima should have marketed it as, we need your signature to get him out, and he will be on a very short leash, and he will be watched and governed by people who are not dirty cops. Like maybe they would have signed it then.
I was definitely on Prima's side because I understood where he was coming from. Like, this was a big deal. He really needed this guy out so he could help with this case. But I feel like his approach could have been different because he had to know that Kelly was going to be like, heck no, I am not signing off on anything like that. So, I mean, I wanted to use, more grown-up words, but I don't want but he had to know that would have been Severide's reaction. So I'm not sure why it didn't occur to him to think of, a better way to approach that.
Well, I think he thought
plan B.
Yeah, exactly. I think he thought too that he could butter him up with this case first. And I think that's actually because he wasn't thinking it through. I think if it would have been in a straight arson case where he needed Kelly's expertise, but even when Prima first gave him this case, Kelly was like, why are you coming to me with this? And then in the end, when he said, I need you to drop the charges, then Kelly was like, okay, so you were just using me, trying to placate me so I could give you what you wanted in the end. And that just set him off more.
Exactly.
So he didn't think that, he thought he could butter him up with a case, but it wasn't a legitimate fire case. So he completely missed his mark there.
I mean, if he wanted to butter him up, fine, but maybe try with a real arson case.
Yeah.
And not a case that has nothing really to do with his skill set.
Right? Exactly.
I mean, Kelly's smarter than this.
He's so smart.
It's just kind of demeaning. I mean,
it is.
It's rude.
It's manipulative and it's passive aggressive, and it's and I think Prima sort of knew that when he came in there, that because he came in there with like a deep sigh and he just kind of knew that he was gonna fight, but he did it. I think his other thing here was, I think his plan B was to appeal to Stella at the end. Because he did do that, and I think that that's going to come into play later. And this this wasn't the only conflict that we had this week. We had some disagreements with Gallo and Carver too on the calls. I didn't
like that either.
No, because that was one of the things we said on last week's podcast too, was that we were excited that Gallo got Carver to come out of his shell, and it looked like Carver and him found some solid footing and solid ground, and I was excited for how they were going to move forward, not step back.
I was very, I don't know if upset is the right word, but I didn't like it. Yeah, I was just very annoyed because
I was very disappointed.
I was very disappointed. But Carver, like, I get where he was coming from. I mean, Gallo, the way Gallo works, I can see why that's frustrating to him. But also, it's not his job to be telling Gallo what he should and shouldn't be doing. Like,
exactly.
He's not Gallo's lieutenant. He's not his superior in any way at all, except that he's been, a firefighter for longer. But still, that doesn't give him license to tell Gallo what he should and shouldn't be doing. So I was sitting there the whole time going, oh God, stop talking.
Yes,
that's
I know. It's driving me insane.
Go away.
It's ego, and it has no place in a fire when you have to depend on your partners, your equal part. If you are not a lieutenant, you are at an equal level, equal partner with everyone else. There is a difference if in this situation, it was a matter of speed, and that's clearly Gallo's expertise. It would be different if it was like a chemical and someone was saying, no, we can't go to this chemical because this is what it does to you. And then you would back off listening to that person who has greater knowledge, like deferring to someone who has more knowledge in that way. But this was in a situation like that. This was where they all had the same training. They all had the same understanding. And Gallo has done this stuff before. And not odd. Odd is not the word I want to use. A rare, maybe? Rescue? That's that's in Gallo's wheelhouse, not Carver's.
Exactly. I mean, I didn't think of anything like he kicked out a window. Like, why are you throwing a fit? Because you didn't think of it first?
Right?
Like,
who cares if your cribbing was out? Put it away.
Freaking decision. Like, I would have been like, hey, that was a really good idea. Like, awesome job. That's what you should have done. Not thrown a fit, because I swear he just threw a fit because he didn't think about it first.
Not to mention, Gallo's been on this team longer. Yes, Carver has more experience as a firefighter, but he's the newbie. He's new to this team. This is how Gallo works. And Stella's cool with it.
Yeah.
His lieutenant is okay with it. He's not doing anything that Stella isn't cool with.
And as far as we know, this is the first team that Carver was hired to. I think he was a floater before, wasn't he? And he wasn't always a firefighter, because there's those pictures that we saw of him on a construction site. So we don't know how many years he has on Gallo. But we know that he hasn't been on a team, in a team structure, in a long time. And in those situations, you have to rely on the person who does have the team, because their focus is going to be on what's best for everyone involved, rather than just, okay, it's me in my own little world. I need to decide what's best for me and this person. Gallo was thinking for everybody involved, while Carver was just thinking of an individual.
Well, we know Carver has been a firefighter the same amount of time as Stella. They graduated together. But who knows if he
I think that's a continuity error.
Firefighter all that time, or maybe he took breaks.
Yeah.
I think he got some. I think after his burns, probably maybe he didn't fight fires.
Well, there was one episode where Stella confronted him about it, and she said, "So I know you didn't get that firefighting," and he made it seem like that was correct, but then he was also trying to hide from her what the real reason is. So maybe that's why he was making her seem it was correct. I don't know. But I do agree. It was an ego thing. That's all it was. He was upset that this younger kid who, and you can hearken it back to when Stella told him to Carver to clean all the compartments. And he was like, well, she obviously will never ask Gallo to do it. So he's got this underlying problem with, it's not even with Gallo himself. It's that he is so insecure that he needs his ego fed. And when this person who makes him feel inferior gets it right and does something praiseworthy, he feels he has to take him down a peg. And then he acted surprised that Gallo was upset at this conversation.
I don't know if it was surprise or just he was annoyed that Gallo was annoyed at the conversation. Like, well, how do you expect him to react to someone scolding him who isn't his boss?
With bowing and deferment, apparently.
Like, how is he supposed to respond to that? Like,
exactly how he did.
Exactly. And it's funny that Carver kind of, he sees Gallo as making him feel inferior because Stella's got this special place for him, he thinks. But then Gallo feels the same way about Carver. Who said he has a point? Was that Severide who said to Stella he has a point? Or was it Stella who said that?
I don't remember.
Oh,
so they were having a conversation, and she said I feel like she was telling Severide that Gallo said all this, and one of them said, well, he's got a point.
I think it was Severide.
Was it Severide?
I think Severide told her. I think Severide told her he has a point.
That makes sense. I mean, he's always pretty truthful with her.
I mean, he always tells her the things she doesn't want to hear, so.
And then Carver wouldn't even admit it, like there was a beef. At least Gallo admitted, yeah, there's a problem. But Carver tried to play it off like, no, everything's great, everything's fine. Okay, come on. She's not stupid. Stop. We just got to a place where you were starting to understand how this house works, and now you're treating her like she can't see what's in front of her face. Yeah. Come on. Be better, Carver.
More than that. Come on.
I either need him to leave or get with the program. Because I feel like I like Carver if I can just trust them more.
Yes, there's no consistency to his character.
It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back every episode. Like, I'm getting really dizzy and I'm sick of it. I'm like, do we like Carver or do we not like Carver? I'm good with either one.
Yeah.
But we just need to pick one and stick with that.
And I think that with Carver, like this tension that he has every week, because last week he was better. It wasn't like he was filled with this anger and frustration. We could like him better. But he changed it back again to where he had all this animosity.
Yeah. I mean, it continued on to the next call as well. When Gallo tried to climb up that, what is this stuff called?
The scaffolding. It was
no, it was like the garden
trellis.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, as soon as he told Stella, not that there's anything wrong with him saying, oh, I can do this, but as soon as he said, hey, I think I can climb up that thing, I'm thinking, oh god, here we go. Carver's gonna be all annoyed that he didn't think of that first this time, and it's a whole other thing.
I feel like he's just concerning himself with things he doesn't need to be concerning himself with.
That's exactly it.
Like, do your job.
And trust Stella to do hers.
Compete. They don't need to don't compete. I mean, you have a lieutenant already. How much higher you think you're going to go right now? Yeah, you need to get along with your people. But anyways, back to this heartbreaking storyline. By the way, this was a really I mean, Med was pretty deep too this week, but Fire was pretty deep as well. This call, I get the other word. This call, they think that the door's jammed at first, right? But they think it was jammed.
Well, it
Yeah.
probably was jammed, but not by accident.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, we see later that he's shut it closed with the plywood.
That's what I kind of thought it was when they said it was jammed. I was like, oh. But I didn't think it was going to be that.
Think about it. I didn't even think about that. But he gets up there. This man is suicidal.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought Gallo had him. I kind of was like right there with Gallo. Like he was like, I thought I had him. Like
I feel like Gallo was like he was this close.
Yeah, like
to getting him.
I was just so sure. I was like, okay, like this is gonna be a huge win. Like, way to go, Gallo.
Ugh.
I mean,
I was really surprised when the guy jumped. I was really surprised.
No.
So even when he jumped, I was certain that the police had gotten there by then and had set up some kind of, I don't know, mat or, you know, one of those like bouncy house looking things underneath. And I was like, oh my God. You know what I'm talking about though? Those big, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain it. But I was convinced that there was going to be a mat and he's going to jump into that. And we're like, okay, he's good. Everything's fine. But then it just kept focusing on Gallo. I'm like, come on, move on. Show us the part where everything's okay. And
he's okay.
I'm like, oh gosh, I don't think he's okay.
Unfortunately, Chicago wanted to be real this week.
Mm-hmm.
They really wanted to, you know, break our hearts over and over and over again this week.
I don't know.
And the honesty that came out of Gallo in that conversation, because that's all he did. He just provided this guy some really real honesty.
Mm-hmm.
And it came through in what Carver and Stella were hearing. It made Stella sad, but then Carver started to understand this other layer to Gallo that yes, he does do things that appear reckless. Yes, he does love the thrill of firefighting, but I think he was seeing that as a detriment when you should love and be passionate about what you're doing, especially if it's something as dangerous as this. Because if you don't love it, you are going to get yourself or somebody else killed. And that he realized during this conversation that Gallo had with this guy, that this is really what it is for Gallo, is he's just very, very passionate about what this job is and about saving people no matter what it costs him. And this cost Gallo a lot.
I did really appreciate the fact that Carver noticed this.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mouch pointed it out to him.
Yeah.
Or no, was it Mouch? Who did?
Herman.
Herman. Was it?
They're standing by the coffee machine. Who was that?
No, it was when he walked out, because it was when he was on the floor and he was hitting the punching bag by the squad table.
Oh yeah. Who was that right next to him?
It might have been Cruz. I don't know, but they said to Carver, which I thought it was weird that they said it to Carver. They looked at him and said, "Get your boy."
My boy.
It was someone from squad for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking, but I don't remember who.
Cruz? I mean, it had to have either been Severide or Cruz, because that's not a Tony or Cap thing.
No.
It was either Cruz or Severide.
So somebody did. I mean, Carver did he was watching him, but I don't think he really realized the depth of it until they pointed it out to him when he was beating the crap out of that punching bag.
Yep.
That poor punching bag.
I was a little nervous though about, and even Gallo said, I don't really think I like your style, Carver. So I hope this doesn't become a regular thing, because I'm not really a huge fan of Carver off duty. And I really like Gallo off duty. I don't want Gallo to become off duty Carver.
Same. I don't want him to start having a problem like Carver has.
No.
Because I don't care what Carver says. He has a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's just some deep rooted issues that have not been taken care of, that he's just burying down deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's not going to end very well.
He goes looking for fights. He goes looking for a physical way. It's, and I'm in no way saying that this is not really a hard issue, but it's like cutting for Carver. This going out looking for fights and getting drunk like this, it's the same effect that a person who cuts out of their despair, depression. It's the same thing that what Carver is doing. And so the only benefit there was the talk he had with them on the curb when he said, if you want to cry, then cry. Like that conversation was good. It's the whole rest of the night that I had an issue with.
Yeah.
But he got him to cry at the end.
He did. I mean, it ended up being like a good place at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I guess, half what matters. I don't want to say all that matters because
the self-medicating with alcohol. I mean, if that's the path we're going to see Gallo go towards, then
no, thank you.
No, I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan of that either.
Especially since he has such a healthy relationship with Ritter and with Violet, who have both experienced pain. Find someone healthier.
Can you not do this to Gallo right now, please? Thank you.
I think that maybe part of it was to give us an inroad to discuss Carver's past, because that has to be coming at some point, right? Like they aren't just going to keep haunting us with this and then never telling us, because that's sort of what it feels like.
They've been dangling it in our face for 8 episodes.
Yes.
What episode is this
8
now?
episodos.
8 episodes.
Every episode
in our face. And I'm sick of it. It's like, just give us something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we don't even need the whole story. Just give us a snippet of it so we can understand why, or at least begin to understand why he is the way he is.
That's my thing. I don't think I can like him all the way, but until I know him.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't know him if I don't know his backstory.
Yeah.
You can't just dangle somebody in front of us and just catch on. We don't trust people like that anymore.
Right. And I like
ruined
him.
Us.
I like him when he's decent, but he's only decent every other episode.
Yeah.
So I can't make up my mind because they keep taking away the good parts and then give me bad parts, but then give me the good parts again. Like, stop it.
I know. It's like, I like him. I don't like him. I like him. I don't like him.
Like, what is their end goal with making us that dizzy with the I like him, I don't like him? I don't understand what the point of that kind of writing is. I'm not a writer. They want us to get
invested in the story. Like, I think they want us to be hungry for Carver.
The only thing I'm invested in is for the writers to figure out where we're going with Carver, because I really don't care if it's one way or the other. I just need somebody to pick something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with you right there. Thankfully, we got some humor this episode because I feel like we really needed it.
And we can always count on Herman for that humor.
Herman and Mouch, man.
Yep.
A dynamic duo, I'm telling you.
I knew that as soon as the episode started with that stop sign came up, I was like, uh-oh, here we go.
Oh, I knew it would come to bite him in the butt at the end. I'm like, this is gonna come back to get him.
This whole thing's hilarious.
Reminding me of when they wanted that little library outside the firehouse.
Oh,
was it Mouch who wanted that little library, and then Mouch who set it on fire by leaving his glasses in there?
Yep.
And he had Kelly investigated and everything, and he's like, "Are these your glasses? Investigation closed."
Exactly what this was.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, obviously we've got, everyone running a stop sign, but then I'm sorry, we have a car in our town. There's a dummy cop in it. It just parks in random places.
Yeah.
And it obviously at first you're like, oh wait. But still your initial reaction, because you're farther away, is, oh, because it's never in the same spot. This dummy wasn't there very long. Like, he was still strapping it on with this car pulled up to take a picture of. Like, how did you know from way back there that this was not a real cop? Because your initial reaction is, and then
I know.
When you near it, you're like, oh wait, no, that's a dummy. I can keep going as fast as I want.
Because they passed it by like 20 feet, got out and took a selfie. I'm like, How did they? At first I was like, what are they doing? I'm like, what's going on?
I thought they were like steal it or something.
That's what I thought they were gonna do. So when they were first blew past this cop, were they just trying to see if they could entice this cop to chase them? Like, what was your goal? Like,
I don't know what their end goal
right
was
there.
Here.
It was nuts. So I mean, that one drove me crazy too. But I think that Mouch obviously got Trudy to do it because Herman wouldn't let it go. Herman would not let Trudy rest. I almost think that because Mouch called him and said, you left this at the firehouse. I think that's why he did it. So that Herman could get pulled over because he knew Trudy was sitting right there. And then this could end.
And really, I think Mouch may have been doing Trudy a favor because you knew she had to enjoy every second.
Oh, yeah.
Giving Herman a ticket for running the
not want to be there.
Sign that he had complained about.
And Herman gets so passionate about these causes, and he called it wanton lawlessness. Like, okay, dude, take it down a notch. I agree. I get frustrated too, but and then Trudy, when she walked up to the car, she's like, you made me be here. I don't want to be here. You're getting a ticket. And then ends it with,
to write a ticket because you made me be here, then that's what I'll write the ticket for.
And at the end, she's like, tell Cindy I've got something great for book club. Like, I love that Trudy. Little add-in. I love when she appears on fire.
I love the idea of Trudy being at a book club. I don't know why, but it very much amuses me.
I like the idea of Mouch and Herman's wives hanging out together. I like it. I don't know. I just like it.
I do too.
And I mean, we also, this episode did bring us, like, once we got past the Prima thing, which was the only annoying thing about the episode. I mean, the Carver Gallo thing was annoying, but it was supposed to be annoying. So it fit. But we also got Brett. And I'm kind of, I hope we get more of this with this Dylan guy.
I really like him.
Yes, a lot. And
Me
I was
too.
so, like, when Brett was saying no at first, I'm like, no, God, she looks like she's so sad all the time. Let her have somebody.
And he's so handsome.
If you're not going to bring Matt back, put her with somebody.
Yes.
And this guy, I mean, Ethan wanted her to be with this guy. It's just so sweet.
Oh,
it's like destiny.
You have to be with him. Like, you have to now.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
I do love that they brought Ethan in.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Evan. Yeah, not Evan. Ethan. Evan.
I was so confused.
That's my bad.
I'm like,
oh man, I'm thinking Med.
I was like, Ethan?
It's an E name. Evan. Sorry.
Ethan, Evan, they're the same.
I knew who I was talking about. Obviously, I'm not reading my notes. But it was so sweet. When he would look so nervous sitting in that restaurant. And she was so nervous. And as soon as she saw him be nervous, she's like, okay. I mean, that was such a sweet little touch.
Yes.
That they did.
I love how excited Violet was about it too. Because, she's obviously had a rough couple episodes, even though on the outside she was getting a lot better. You could tell she really, really needed a happy ending. She needed a win, whether it was for her or for Brett. I mean, she really got invested in this. So it was nice to see her so excited about Brett, going on a date.
And she even said to Brett, you're worried that this is going to be Evan, but Evan is already everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're with this guy or not. And sometimes it makes me happy. Sometimes it makes me sad, but he is already everywhere. And I like that she said that. I do love that. I thought it was so sweet that Brett was actually FaceTiming her on her way to go see this guy. And
I know
that Brett was like, do you think this is the wrong sort of outfit? But then he's dressed very similar to how she's dressed. And I'm like, it's perfect. Sylvie Brett needs someone who's that sweet and that nice and that chill as she is.
Yep, exactly. She needs it. I mean, I feel like Matt was pretty soft and sweet too. I mean,
I'm not a huge Matt fan.
Oh, I like Matt.
I didn't dislike him. I'm just not a huge Matt fan.
Oh, see, I liked him. I mean, he was never my number one, but
I love him, but
I know you love him.
I don't really miss him terribly. Now that he's been gone a while, I'm not missing him so much.
I agree.
But the fall finale preview is going to be. It looked good. It looks intense, which is, we kind of want it all to be that way. I don't like it when they do fall finales with the cliffhanger though. So I hope we don't get that. I like it to be just a really, really intense episode. If we have to wait a few weeks or a month, I don't like cliffhanger. I don't like waiting. Is my issue. I'm not real patient.
I'm not either. I don't think they will. But nothing better happened to Stella. That's all I gotta say.
Oh, the look on Kelly's face though when you
I
found out
know.
Stella in there.
Amanda is going to riot if something bad happens.
I mean, I will too. My daughter will write Dick Wolf a very strongly worded letter if anything happens to Stella. There will be a lot of spelling errors, and the sentences might sound weird, but she will write one.
Me too. Mine too.
So it showed
lots of spelling errors.
It showed a grenade in a guy's. I didn't realize it was in his leg, but there was a grenade in the guy's leg that didn't detonate. So they had to send in. They can't send in everybody. They just have to send in a few. And it's Stella and is it Carver who goes in with her? Stella and Carver?
Oh, darn. Oh.
You realize that if Carver dies, then likely Stella also dies. So let's hope that Carver stays alive. They're going to be working together. They're not going to be far apart. So if
he's going to throw himself on top of Stella and everybody be fine.
So he goes out a hero.
We've already had a major death. Like they usually only do one a season.
Yeah, I don't think anything's going to happen to either one of them.
Knock on wood.
I think she might get hurt, but I mean, Stella's already been in the hospital. She's already had a big problem. So let's not do that again.
That was back in season 7. Maybe she's due for another round.
Nah, stop it. New material.
Stop it. I think that maybe this will be a way for Stella to show that her position is well earned and well deserved, and Carver will start to fall in line, and maybe this will cause him to open up and say, you know what? I think I can trust you with my past. So let me tell you what happened.
I hope so.
Yay. And we're going to move on to PD now because we don't want to talk about Stella getting hurt anymore because we're not as sadistic as Eve is. This PD episode was pretty great too. I do like it was cleared up right away because, this whole season, and I feel like I don't think we've done this to this extent in previous seasons. It's usually full ensemble, but this whole season we've been getting character specific episodes, and I really enjoy that on the PD.
I did too.
A lot.
I've been enjoying it.
I did, because last week we were wondering in the preview, she's like, I was shot there too. We're like, but wait, like on your body? Or where? In the warehouse? Like, what do you mean you were shot there too? What does that mean? Because I thought, what a weird thing to say to someone. Oh, I was shot in the exact same place. Like, but that's what she meant. She meant shot in the same exact part of my body. It was weird and disturbing. This was a weird, disturbing call. But it was an interesting storyline, and it was a nice break from the child sex trafficking.
Yep.
Because I can't do that one every week. Can't do it. Not that I want to do serial killers every week either. I mean, it's not like we have a lot of great options for PD, but
sex trafficking or serial killers. You have to pick one wording.
Serial killers.
Yes, it'll be serial killers every time.
Yeah. No, I actually enjoyed this episode because a lot. I mean, how often do you really get a serial killer thing on any of our shows? Like, you really don't.
And it's the psychology that goes into it. Figure out the why they would possibly do this, what makes them tick. And that's what I love about PD that I think is really good and a standout thing is the thing Voight always says, find out the why so we can find out the who.
Yep.
And that's my favorite part about this is finding out the why.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
exactly. I mean, why do you think I love doing true crime?
Exactly.
It's because it's the psychology behind why do people do this? Like, what on earth can lead you to do this? Like people in trial, reason of insanity. And every single time I'm just sitting there going, I'm sorry, but I feel like you would have to be insane to do what you did.
Yes.
I mean, unless it was like a complete accident, I understand that. But if you actually murder somebody, you're not sane. So
there's something wrong with you.
There's definite wickedness.
It's not normal. I mean, it's human nature not to heal somebody.
Mm-hmm. And
there's my rant.
Well, you're right, though. We kind of get into the psychology of why Kim does what she does, because we start off with their home life, right? We start off with seeing Michaela and the sleepover, which I love seeing that part of her and Adam's life.
I know. Me too.
It feels so good and normal and natural to have them all together as one unit. And they're taught, they are giving us some updates into the other stories. So I like how they are letting us know, hey, this isn't going anywhere. We haven't forgotten about it, but this is not the focus. And she gets called out. Okay. And obviously Hank is in the doghouse because he meets Kim at the scene where the commissioner is like, oh yeah, he's a great, huge donor. He does all these fantastic things for us. No longer digging this chief. I get
a traffic cop. My mouth went.
Oh, I don't know.
You can't say that to Hank.
I don't know that's where you want Hank. Can you imagine that? Take a moment to imagine Hank as a traffic cop.
No, thank you.
I don't think anybody wants that.
That
no.
is the scariest traffic cop of all time.
Yeah, if he pulled me over, I would immediately start crying.
I would immediately, I would say thank you for the ticket and please let me leave.
Just give it to me, thank you.
Please just give me the ticket so I can go home and cry. Like
Kim was the one who was originally called to the scene though for IDing this guy. And I forget the reason they said why they chose her, because it couldn't have been because they were shot in the same spot. Because that's a weird reason to choose someone for an ID. But I don't remember the reason.
She said something to Adam about her name still being on file.
So that's right, for that gang.
That's right.
That gang. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think because she'd done, like, her name was in the, like, they found her name in the file, like in the casework for that gang, right. I guess, and that's
that guy was in the gang.
This person.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that now. And she, through their work, they find the car that was parked in front of the victim's house. They find blood and duct tape in the truck. They find it's all there still. But the creepiest part was when they found, they were given the tip of look for the purple flowers. And then they go down in that sewer and there's body after body after body with these, almost like it was and I kind of thought, I didn't think it was going to be what it was. I thought it was going to be like a satanic ritual of sorts, because it was like I thought there was a pentagram on the wood that was outside, and then all the hanging, it looked like almost voodoo stuff. And then you go underneath and there's these flowers that are perfectly placed next to all these bodies that are lined up. Like, cool. I just imagine the smell for a second.
Ew.
I'm not laughing because this is funny. I'm laughing because I'm very uncomfortable thinking of what I'm thinking. But this case kept me guessing, because I had it set in my head. Oh, this is what it is. I know what it is. And then every little piece that came up, like I had to adjust my thinking. Yep. So it kept me guessing, this case did. But, it wasn't far from the grave where they found, all the bodies, like right next to it.
Yeah, there was 4, right?
Was that all there was just 4?
Yeah, I think it was 4 more bodies. Yeah, 4 more bodies. And it was so strange too, of them being stabbed and then stitched up and then stabbed. I mean,
that was very disturbing.
Like what rage is this person holding in?
That's like, this was very disturbing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we know it's a serial killer because there's a pattern, right? They're all wealthy. They've all had break-ins with very little stolen before.
And didn't one of the victims say too, it was like he wanted us to know he broke in, and he just there was this window. A couple said there was a window open, but he broke in the back, like he wanted them to know.
Yeah,
I'm coming for you. Like, ooh.
Yeah, this just
adds an extra layer of creepy to the whole case.
Yes. How do you sleep after that?
I wouldn't. I'm not there.
I'd have to sell the house and move back far away.
Bye. They thankfully found that glove, though. That was huge.
Yeah. And that no one else picked that up before?
I know.
Well, I don't think the guy who did it had nothing to fear, because it was Tyler who was found. It was his brother's glove. It was his brother's DNA. So I wonder if he took that because it was his brother and it could keep him safe no matter what.
Maybe.
Or if he was just like, I need the supplies. Here it is. But his brother was obviously Tyler was in St. Louis when it happened.
He was
so
in St.
it wasn't
Louis.
him.
He wasn't even there. So he was immediately kind of
the wife, when Tyler got arrested, his poor wife.
Oh man.
She was freaking out. I can't imagine that. I would be in tears. Especially because they were not happy cops who came and arrested him.
No, they were not.
We're not friendly.
Especially when the wife came down the stairs, like coming at them. Like, what are you doing? Have you never seen a cop show of any capacity? You don't charge the police officer. What is the matter with you?
It always ends badly 100% of the time.
Always. She's going to have
human
permanent fence marks. Yeah. She's going to have permanent fence marks in her cheek now. That's on you, lady.
Sorry. If the police are coming to arrest me, my first reaction is not going to be rush the police.
No.
I'm terrified of getting in trouble, so I just be like, okay, take me now.
Even so, I can take me. My thought wouldn't be, I can take them.
No.
First of all, there's 3 of them. They all have guns and bulletproof vests on. No, I cannot take them. Couldn't even take one of them unarmed. No. That lady was small. What are you gonna do?
Exactly.
But the team, they were questioning Tyler as a suspect. But then there's another robbery that happens while he's in custody. That's, because I think Voight and Kim were both, they weren't buying his story in full. Even though his alibi checked out, they weren't buying it. So when the other robbery happened while he was there, it sort of solidified that for him.
Yeah. I knew as soon as she came up there and was asked if he was in custody, I was like, uh-oh. Something happened.
They just accidentally became this guy's alibi.
That poor guy, though. This new guy, when his wife got taken.
That was insane. When she was on the phone with Kim.
They were so close.
That was upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
That was irritating.
Torres, though, I say this every week, but I like him more and more every week he's on this show.
Who?
Torres.
Dante. Oh, I'm in love with him already.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. He's climbing up there for me.
He sprinted from the bottom of that parking garage to the top in record time. And I just I did because
he's awesome.
He is awesome. I did like how excited he got with the guy in the mask, though. That made me. I know he wasn't like yay, but just the way his voice came out, it made me. I don't know why, but it made me laugh. He's like, look, there's a guy in the mask. Just the way he said it, it was so funny.
I win. I found it.
That's what it felt like. And obviously Kevin chases him and he loses him. And it was hard to, and you have to know they took that hard because they are now aware he has the victim. And they were so close. They had her on the phone. They were just missed her by seconds. That has to be so hard and difficult. And a whole manner of other things. This husband has got to be freaking out because now they have to tell him, hey, we lost your wife.
Yeah.
He's already super confused.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's freaking out because he's like, my wife? What's wrong with my wife? What's going on?
I really thought they would have gotten to her in time.
Mm-hmm. And they did.
They did. Eventually.
Yeah. I thought I was hoping they would get to her right there in the parking garage. I'm like, okay, they're going to get her. She's going to be fine. And then she wasn't there. She was so close.
But it leads us to Mark Hansen.
Mm-hmm.
And all the bad things in his apartment. All the things he stole. Dummy. At least put it in a storage unit or something.
And I get that psychotic breaks are caused by trauma. I get that this guy his mom was killed in a horrible way. And I get that it's infuriating. There was this case with a kid, I think it might have been in Texas, this 16-year-old who killed a bunch of people because he was driving rip roaring drunk, but his parents are super wealthy. And so they got him off.
I remember him.
Yeah. Was that in Texas? The redheaded kid? It was him and his mom. And then him and his mom.
Yeah, I remember the whole story. Because I watched the trial.
Yeah, and they escaped to like Mexico, and
Mhm.
he never had to. It's frustrating. I'm not even in that, and it's maddening and it's infuriating. And these people need to have justice, but killing innocent people is not justice. It's you need to find a workaround. You need to talk to somebody. But that was what it was, is because the CEO, he killed their mom because he was drunk, and there was no consequences for him. And he ended up dying of pancreatic cancer 2 years later. So, I mean, there sort of was justice. But to this guy, no justice was served. I need to make them all pay. I need to take this in my own hands. And it's curious. I wish this is not what the show is about, but I wish that we have more backstory to how he found this Greek religion and this, like, how he got connected to it and what that process was. Like, that's what I really wanted to know, was how did you find out about this? Did you just like search what religions justify serial killings? Like, what was your process there? How did you get here? And what, because he clearly did.
How to get away with.
He clearly by the end believed in this religion. He believed in it. So it's not just like it was I think I could use this to justify, like, he actually believed in it. And it's just it's such a depiction of how, when you are feeling that much trauma and you don't talk to someone, how it can completely alter what you are capable of believing in and what you're capable of doing.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense too.
And this is a little plug I'm going to put in here. I know that Fire had a suicide on it. And I know this guy was about to kill himself. Mark was about to kill himself. That was his whole plan. At the end, you were going to kill yourself.
Yep.
If you are struggling with mental illness, or you're struggling with thoughts of depression or of suicide, we do have, if you look in our podcast description, we do have a telephone number that you can call, or a website that you can visit, where there's 24-hour help, and you're not alone in this. You please don't feel like you have no one you can turn to, because talking about it and getting it out is so vitally important, and you are loved and you are wanted here. So please look at that number and look at that website, and don't hesitate to reach out if you are feeling those things.
Absolutely.
But luckily they find Mark and the victim, and it's Adam and Kim who find the house that he's at. And that was like, I had my kids were watching PD with me, and I'd be like, look at mommy. Like, why? I don't know. Just keep looking at mom. What's happening? I don't know what's happening yet. I just want you to look at me. That's all I want.
I feel something coming.
Because I thought, I actually see, now on Fire, I was completely blindsided by the guy jumping.
Yeah.
In PD, I absolutely thought that guy was going to shoot himself in the face. Of course, he tried to, but I thought he was going to be successful in it, and I did not want my children to see that. So
yeah. Oh yeah. No, I definitely thought we were going to have two, and I was like, oh man, what happened this week, Dick?
That name does not lend itself well to statements.
I know I asked for a crossover, but not this way.
And just to be very, very clear to everyone listening, we're allowed to call him Dick because his name is Dick Wolf. We're not like making a phallic slur here. His name is, that was sort of the implication there, but his name is Dick Wolf. All right.
Richard,
yes. But they find him, and I actually thought, though, I think it was because it came after Fire, and so I was like, all right, yeah, woman's dead. Yep. This guy's gonna kill himself. And
yep, exactly.
And they found her alive. Kim forgets her gun, and
this, I was like, what?
Yes,
that's a big thing for a police officer to do, is it not? Like,
a huge deal.
I don't know, especially working in intelligence. How I know that she's going through a lot, but it's like, how does it get so, it has to be bad for her to completely forget her gun.
Yeah.
Because that has to be a natural instinct. You're on your way out of the station to go, to a house, you grabbed your gun.
And worse still, like, she didn't leave it in the safe. She genuinely misplaced her loaded firearm. Like, that's a big problem.
Big problem.
And even worse, she couldn't go help her partner. obviously there's no way Adam's letting her into that house. Like, are you insane? But
I mean,
she hears the gunshots.
anyways.
Yeah, she hears, I don't know what she didn't have anything. She didn't even grab a stick. She had nothing. Yes. She could have just run around. Nothing. She hears gunshots and she runs in, not only blind, but without a weapon of any kind. But I mean, what is she going to do? She's not going to sit outside when A, her partner, B, the love of her life, is inside potentially getting shot at.
Yep.
But she finds him with the victim and she's able to put pressure on the wound the way she did kind of for herself. So she's reliving this moment from when she was shot while she's helping this woman relive this moment or be in this moment. And Kim is really struggling to separate the two by the end.
She is.
Especially when Mark comes home and then Adam has to leave her. All she's thinking about is the pain and the torment that she had. And Adam convinces her, and I don't like, this is the crazy thing about her and Adam's relationship, their partnership as police, because she somehow knew that she had to keep this woman silent and she had to be silent. She didn't know Adam was upstairs convincing this guy. Yeah, she's dead. They're dead and gone. She had no idea he was doing that. But they just automatically knew what the other was going to do. And they worked together to do that. And that's when Adam kind of was like, jumped him before he could shoot himself. And then he hears them and he's like, you lied to me. How dare you lie to me? I'm sorry, dude. You killed 5 other people?
Yeah. You have no right to know anything.
I think it's pretty okay that he lies to you about whether or not your 6th victim is dead.
Yeah.
Like it's like you murdered 5 people, tried to murder a 6th one, but I'm so sorry I lied to you. That wasn't okay.
Yeah.
That's on me. I apologize.
That's my bad.
I shouldn't have lied when, trying to arrest you for, multiple murders.
While saving your life. And, Adam does, because their partnership is so good, Adam does realize there's something going on with Kim. And he tries to get her to talk about it, but she's not ready. And I think that if he can get her to talk to somebody, because this is going to keep haunting her until she talks about it with somebody. You can't hold this stuff in. So, I mean, she's not ready to deal with her issues. And what she does, like what everybody on this intelligence team does, we've been watching Haley do it for weeks, she throws herself into more work because, when you're at a place where you're forgetting your firearm and don't even know where you put it, sure, thing is to work harder. She goes to help Haley.
Or because that's obviously the problem. You're not working hard.
Exactly. And Haley's obviously working on the Sean case because Hank said to her, I put in 5 days vacation, spend it how you want. Obviously that means, work? Okay. So Haley's been working on the case and Kim goes to help her, which I'm glad she does.
Yeah.
Because she finds the loophole for peace. I mean, really, when you're working on these cases, you need fresh eyes. There's a point where you're going to go blind because you're just looking at the same thing over and over and over again and it stops connecting to other things. You need fresh eyes.
I loved Kim and Haley working together. I don't know why exactly, but I was like, this is really fun.
Yes, I agree.
Because they're 2 baddies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I really like Haley this season a lot. I haven't liked her much at all, but I really like her this season.
I don't know. She's going up and down for me. There's some days I really love her, and there's some days I'm get frustrated with her. I never dislike her, but I get frustrated with her sometimes. Like I want to shake her.
I've just liked her for a long time, so I'm really relieved that I actually like her season. She's not my favorite yet, but I'm not disliking her anymore.
But my problem with her used to be that she just seemed so like she felt like she was above everybody else.
Yeah. And
she felt like she could talk down to other people. She knew better than everybody else, even on a team. No, I'm better. You will listen to whatever I have. Like, I didn't like that. You're on a team.
Yeah.
Be a team player. And that was my whole issue with her. And she's a team player this season. So
yeah, she's gotten a lot better about that.
Mm-hmm. But on the call that we talked about in the beginning, they bring up Milwaukee, which is, my neck of the woods. So I always I wonder if I know what place they're talking about. They talked about Mackinac Island in one of these before. I'm like, I used to go there all the time. I know where that is. I feel like a celebrity when I mention something that I've been on. But she connects that. And that's why Haley needed fresh eyes, because Kim heard the conversation with Adam about Milwaukee and then was able to step in there and then see Milwaukee. And so she was able to bring that new piece for Haley.
Yeah. Which I think was much needed.
Mm-hmm.
She needed to find a connection.
Yeah. Did anyone else think, because the way she was talking about Milwaukee and the way she was saying, that's where his dad used to take him, I thought that he was sexually abused by his dad for a minute. I thought that's where they were going.
I didn't catch that.
No, I didn't catch that either, but I can see why you went there.
Yeah, I understand. I didn't go there, but I understand how you went there.
Because it
would make sense, yeah.
The link was that's where he used to go with his dad all the time. And if that's where he's taking the kids, I mean, if you're looking for the why, trauma induces this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
We still don't really, unless was it his mom, you think, that was buried there? Because his mom died,
I think
right?
so. Yeah.
So maybe
I think so.
Maybe dad killed the mom, or Sean accidentally killed the mom. And that's when that's when he started getting into drugs. And then from there, it went on to more depraved things, maybe.
I think the dad is guilty here. I think the dad did something and Sean knows about it.
Maybe. Because the dad is in there somehow. I don't want him to be, because I actually do like this sheep. So I'm kind of hoping it's that Sean accidentally murdered his mom when they were up there. Or maybe he even saw his mom having an affair with someone else and he went into a rage and killed her. Something. I don't know.
Maybe. Do we know how long ago?
I don't remember. I think it was, or maybe his mom fought him on drugs. I was going to say maybe it was before he was on drugs, but maybe he was already on drugs at the time. I don't know. I don't think we're given it. I think we'll be given a timeline next week.
Yeah.
But I don't think we have one yet.
2 weeks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It'll be on. So they do find a body in the shed where there's mushrooms growing there. And how convenient that there were 2 shovels just sitting right there.
I know. I honestly laughed at that too.
It's almost like he planted them there. It's like, in case the police drop by,
I just want to help them out.
To make their job easier, I'll just put a shovel here and let's throw in an extra, just in case.
I may be a trafficker, but I am a team player.
And I really want to be caught. So let's just make it nice and easy.
Maybe part of him does want to be caught. Hopefully now that we found this body, we can tie up this Sean case in the fall finale, because I don't want this to drag on into that.
I'm so tired of Sean.
Mm-hmm. But I cannot wait to see him brought down. I'm excited for that. I'm real excited for it.
Same. And I want Haley to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
I want Haley and Voight to bring him down.
Although in the preview, that's why I think maybe Sean did something, because in the preview, the dad looked confused at the body being there and he looked surprised.
Yeah, I didn't watch the preview.
Where in the preview, they bring the chief there and show the body, and it's Hank and Haley and Kim showing the chief the body. If your wife died and that's her body, what did you bury, dude?
Yeah. Nothing.
That's the one loose end that I think maybe the dad could have, because he had to have known that his wife wasn't in anything, unless she just went missing. That's my problem, is I don't remember what the story with the mom is. If she went missing or if she died. I don't know what they believe or what the chief thinks. If the chief thinks she just left them, which I feel like might be true.
I feel like I need to go back and rewatch, like, to when the sex trafficking storyline started, and just go back and rewatch those scenes.
Just to hear what the chief says about Sean, because I think that's what he says about the mom. So check out our Chicago Facebook group. It's One Chicago Family Fan Club. So join us over there. I think we're finishing up our firefighter. Is today the last? No, today's not the last day.
We still have a few more days.
Go vote. Severide is up right now. Today, Severide is up. It might be done for today, but keep them in there. Keep it going. Don't forget to check out our socials, and we'll see you real soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Loving our content? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to share our podcast with your family and friends. We want to continue the conversation with you. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok under Fandom Family Chats, or one of our ever-growing Facebook groups by searching Family Fan Club. We've also launched a website. Family Fan Club 2021 at wixsite.com. You can email us there and keep checking it for announcements and merch coming soon. And of course, be sure to tune in every week for new episodes discussing all your favorite shows.